It's general wisdom in every relationship, from personal and family to professional and political. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. It's all about shaping expectations. If you promise $5 and deliver $1, that's way worse than promising a quarter and delivering the dollar. One is disappointment, and the other is above and beyond, even though the end product is actually the same. And more fundamentally, it's just about doing what you say you will. Does your word matter or not? Do what you say you will, even if that bar is low, and earn trust. Promise big things and then deliver very little or nothing? Earn mockery and scorn. Overpromising indicates deception. Underpromising indicates honesty. But there is one thing worse than overpromising and underdelivering, though, and that's doubling down on the practice. Promising even more before you deliver what you falsely promised before. And yeah, broken promises happen to the best of us. We think we can deliver on something we can't. We make a commitment we then have to break. That is okay, as long as it's rare and as long as accountability is taken. Hey, sorry, my mistake. I know I said that and then couldn't do it. It won't happen again. I will do better next time. But if instead the response to the overpromise and underdelivery is even more big promises that have yet to be delivered, you are risking what remaining credibility you have. Fail to deliver this time, and you'll never be trusted again. Another piece of long-established general wisdom.
Fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
But in the spirit of not overstating myself, maybe Attorney General Pam Bondi hasn't quite made another big promise. Maybe she's just made another big claim, right after her last big claim was not realized. Last week, she made a show of a statement on Fox News about Epstein documents for imminent release.
Breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
And it turned out not to be any new information. So to fix that, on Monday, Pam Bondi did the exact same thing. She made another big statement on Fox News. Sure, last time I had nothing, but now the truckload of Epstein documents has arrived at my office.
I gave them the deadline, Friday at 8. A truckload of evidence arrived.
Well, how many binders are even in a truckload? Do we get a conversion rate here? Just to keep track. The documents that were supposedly already on her desk, but then weren't.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
They've now promptly arrived because the people who were hiding them suddenly had them packaged up neatly and ready to go. And she knew that the whole time, actually. And that's the problem with this explanation. It's not just that it keeps changing, it's that it defies accountability. See, that last release was nothing because other people were hiding stuff. But I actually knew they were hiding stuff when I released it. This was part of her Truckload commentary on Sean Hannity's show on Monday night.
Less than 24 hours before the release, you got a whistleblower that confirmed that there were way more documents that they were supposed to turn over, and then you found out just before that.
Well, sure. And you're looking at these documents going, these aren't all the Epstein files. You know, there were flight logs, there were names and victims' names. And we're going, where's the rest of the stuff? A source said, whoa, all this evidence is sitting in the Southern District of New York.
And to be fair, that explanation is consistent with the letter that she sent to FBI Director Kash Patel on Thursday night after the document release. Hey, a whistleblower told me last night that there's information being hidden up in the New York field office. But that explanation makes the behavior even harder to understand. Before any of this information was released, she learned that there was a rat. But instead of addressing that rat, she went on Fox News to hype incomplete information that she knew was incomplete. That story makes no sense, other than to shift blame after the fact. And even if you buy this explanation, the documents were concealed, but now we have them. The problem is the explanation for when the documents were actually obtained hasn't even been consistent over the last few days either. On Monday night, Bondi said she got the truckload of documents right on time at the letter's Friday 8 a.m. deadline.
So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m., thousands of pages of documents. I have the FBI going through them.
So now she's actually had these documents for several days, but said nothing upon receiving them. I guess after the last botchery, if you actually do receive the documents, maybe you do keep quiet about them for a minute while you actually look at them first. That I would get, but she didn't do that. by her own description. She was on Mark Levin's Fox News show on Saturday night saying, "We will get everything." Future tense, as in she doesn't yet have it.
They're sitting on thousands of pages of documents regarding Epstein. Thousands. We will get everything. We will have it in our possession.
And then on Monday, it became, oh, we did get everything, actually, on Friday morning, before I said any of that about getting all the stuff in the future. And who's we? That's where this gets even more confusing. Does Pam Bondi have the documents? If so, she hasn't even looked at them, apparently.
I have not reviewed the information yet. The FBI hasn't had, obviously, they haven't looked at the thousands of pages of documents that they've just received Friday. Yeah. But Cash has a team going through them.
So the FBI hasn't yet looked at the documents that the FBI received from the FBI. That sounds like total nonsense, or maybe it actually is perfectly plausible Fed operating procedure and efficiency standards. Now, I get what she means. She means that these documents came from the New York FBI office, and they're now being reviewed at FBI headquarters in D.C. But if Pam Bondi doesn't personally know what's in these documents, how is she promising what we'll see from these documents?
Everything's going to come out to the public. The public has a right to know. Americans have a right to know.
And it's not just that she doesn't know the content. It's that she's saying there will be redaction of unknown volume and type. Last week, she said only victim information will be redacted.
200 victims, well over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, you're going to see some Epstein information.
And now it's, well, national security information too, and other undefined stuff. Who knows? You know what? We'll see.
What are the other things that maybe you'd have to redact?
Well,
national security?
No, of course. National security, some grand jury information, which is always going to be confidential, but we'll see.
Well, if it's we'll see, then you don't know what we'll see, because you don't know what's in there, and you don't know what will have to be redacted, or on what basis. So you don't know that Americans will get all the answers, actually. And even if all this confusion and contradiction is the fault of some nefarious guy or group who hid all the information, you're now saying you know who did that, so where is the accountability? Oh, this was all the shadow operation of those swamp creatures in the FBI's New York office.
A source had told me where the documents were being kept, Southern District of New York, shock.
And now we learn, thanks to you, that you've been stonewalled by people in New York.
A source told me, New York, SDNY, they're sitting on thousands of pages of documents regarding Epstein.
Okay, if that's true, that's obstruction. That's criminal. You're the attorney general whose job it is to prosecute such cases, and yet the accountability is just they're fired?
And I will find out who withheld it, and they will not be working for us anymore.
And that is exactly what happened. Now, the lead at that office isn't working for the Justice Department anymore. James Dennessy, the head of the FBI's largest field office in New York, has been forced to retire, according to an email he sent to the office on Monday. He says there was no reason given, just that he was instructed to retire or get fired. Now, it's assumed that one thing led to another, that alleged concealing of documents is the reason he was forced out. It's not explicitly stated, but if that is the reason, why was he given that courtesy to resign on good terms? Yeah, sure, you lied to us and hid information from us, but please, just fade away quietly like Homer into the bushes and collect your pension and benefits in peace. That sounds like a fall guy, not justice. Hey man, could you please take the heat off me? But don't worry, I'll still take care of you on your way out. And yeah, I get it. Criminal cases take time to build. If he was hiding information and it was just discovered, the charges don't drop overnight. But that's still a fire for cause scenario. That's not an amicable retirement scenario. And sure, you can still scrape for optimism if you like. Even if it is disappointing, at least there's movement in the right direction here. But that movement is still only assumed. If it is all talk and no movement happens, that's actually worse. That's deception. That's trickery. In that case, it would have been better to say from the start, sorry, you're never going to see any Epstein information, so get over it. Because at least that's honest. We are only a month into her term. She was sworn in on February 5th. And it's fair to say that Pam Bondi has already staked all her credibility on these Epstein claims. Either she produces these documents as described, or nobody's going to believe a word she says about anything else going forward. And of course, I hope she does make good on these claims. I hope she does unload this truck and show us all the content she's been describing. When that happens, I will gladly file this video with all the worst I've ever made. But the thing is, even if she does, there's still an important lesson for her to learn, and for the rest of us too. Even if you do have something amazing to show everybody, there's very little benefit in big talk and hype before you do. And there's a lot that's gambled. Your trust and your credibility. Don't talk about what you're going to do. Just do it. There's no sales job needed if the product is so good that it speaks for itself. I don't have to convince you of something if I can just show you instead. So if it's not ready to show, just shut up until it is. And I know that Trump understands that wisdom. He's repeated it several times.
Shut up, silly woman. Shut up, silly woman. Shut up, silly woman.
Hopefully he can get Pam that very urgent message. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on X. That is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chat my live streams. Is live on Wednesday and Sunday nights. Looking forward to it. Goodbye. Hey, if you made it all the way to the end of the video, that means you probably found some value in the video. If you found some value in the video, please consider supporting my material. You can do that one time or recurring for as little as $1 a month. It not only helps me sustain, but it helps me pay the people who make my videos possible. Linked in the description for you, mattchristiansenmedia.com/support. Thanks for listening.